We were trying to take the Seahawks seriously for a while. They were 5-2.
Yeah.
Now they're 6-4, and they just lost to the Rams, which they do a lot.
Yeah.
They tend to lose to the Rams somehow, and then they play the Niners tough. I don't know, man. What are you thinking about Seattle in this matchup here in Seattle?
It's a division game, just like the Rams and the Seahawks game was. I actually had it as a loss before the season. I thought going to Seattle, playing in Seattle on a short week, based on how Seattle looked last year, I figured there'd be some improvement this year. I don't necessarily think I see improvement. I think they're about the same as they were last year. I think the Niners have improved. Originally, I thought this was going to be a loss for the 49ers. Now I see it as a win, and I don't think it's honestly going to be that hard. I really don't. I think the hardest thing about it is going to be a divisional game, right? NFC West game opponent that knows us, and it's in Seattle. But as far as like the team, if they played Seattle in a neutral field, right, to me right now, if they played them in Seattle in a neutral field, the Niners would win 8 out of 10 times. That's how I see this matchup. Only thing they got going for them is it's in Seattle, and it's a divisional opponent, and they kind of know them. But outside of that, I don't think I'm not worried about them.
There's the fact that Geno Smith has an injury. Like, he's questionable. He may not even play. And if he does play, he may not be 100% healthy. But even if he were 100% healthy, I feel like the only reason Niner fans are still like scared about the Seahawks or have PTSD is because of Russell Wilson. Niner fans knew no matter what that team was going through, Russell Wilson like had their number. I think he lost 3 times to them. I think he's 18-3 against the Niners in his career. I think that's correct. And that includes his game with the Broncos against the Niners. So Geno's 0-3. He's already lost as many games against the Niners in one season that Russell Wilson has his entire career.
Right.
I don't think the Niners are scared of Geno Smith. I don't think Geno Smith is scared of Geno Smith. I don't think anyone. I'm sorry. I think the Seahawks have tried to talk themselves into making the right decision to get rid of Russell Wilson and bring in Geno, but like they're not as good without Russell. No. I'm sorry. They're not as good.
And I think Walker is hurt as well. So he'll be out of the game.
Not sure.
That was a battle. That game was a battle. They didn't get a rest players in that game. They were fighting the Rams until the end. Low scoring affair, a lot of defense there. They're going to be beat up more than the 49ers are going to be.
They scored 16 points against the Rams. Dude. Can you imagine what we would say about Brock Purdy and the 49ers if they scored 16 points against the Rams?
Yeah.
Dude.
Yeah,
you can't take this team seriously, man. They have their overall net points is -2 this year. -2.
Yeah, that's the other thing. They're -2, right? They've given up more points than they scored despite their plus 500 record. Whereas the Niners is
that to me tells me that's a lucky team that is going to regress. It is regressing to the
they're either barely beating teams or getting stomped, right? Or I guess they lost a close one.
As opposed to the Niners, who are either stomping teams or barely getting beat.
Right, exactly. It's the opposite. I think it's going to be a great Thanksgiving for Niner fans, and I'm really looking forward to this game. Get a little retribution for watching them eat turkey on a Thanksgiving. I forget what year that was. Sherman Williams.
Richard Sherman. That was 2014.
Who the hell is Sherman Williams? Where'd I get that name from? I don't know. Richard Sherman.
Isn't that like a paint?
It's a paint.
Paint.
Yes. That's Williams. A paint. Sherman Williams paint. Yeah. Richard Sherman eating turkey on the field. I think we're going to see the Niners do that this year. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a good game. Great game tonight. Great game on Thursday.
I made a bet with my dad. I'm going to talk about it tomorrow. In the preseason, I picked the Seahawks to win the division. And my dad was like, "You're wrong." I was like, "No, I'm right." And I was like fighting back, and I made a
bottle of wine.
That the Niners are going to win their first matchup against Seattle and Seattle. So I don't think I'm going to actually pick the Niners to win this game, but I picked them to win it before the season and put wine on it. So sorry.
What kind of wine do you drink? I'm curious. I know you guys bet wine often. What kind do you guys drink?
Like not brand, red, but like red. No, I know. Red. I think this one's going to be like a Beaujolais. So a French red that's a little bit lighter. It's not a Burgundy, which is mostly Pinot, or a Bordeaux, which is mostly Cab and Merlot. It's just a Gamay, which is a lighter drink. You don't age it
Wow.
as long. It's nice. It's less alcohol, usually 12%.
Do you go to Napa with the wife?
I don't go to Napa that much. I much more a Sonoma side kind of guy.
I've never been wine tasting. Do you believe that? From Northern California, never been.
I don't think you'd like it.
Why? Why?
I don't know, man. Maybe you would. Maybe you would. I just feel like it's kind of pretentious and bougie, and you might.
Yeah.
I like to go with my I like to bring my dad because he goes full journalist. He starts asking hella questions, and he's really interested.
Yeah.
Like usually the person who's pouring gets into it with him, and they're like, we got to bring out the reserve stuff. And he's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so he seems like a great person to go wine tasting with because he probably knows his
he's
stuff. I don't know anything about it. I know Carlos Rossi.
That top of the line wine.
Yeah, Carlos
top
Rossi.
of the line wine. Yeah, Carlo
Boone's
Rossi,
Farm?
isn't it?
Boone's Farm.
There you go.
I don't know if it's Carlo. I call it Carlos.
I think it's Carlo. I know E40 called it Carlos, but I think that's probably like a branding thing.
One time, I don't know if I should tell this story, but one time I went to Sac State after high school, college party, and someone dared me to drink an entire jug of Carlos Rossi in 5 minutes. And I did, and I don't remember anything. I just remember waking up in my house. Somehow I got home.
Glad you woke up. That's not good. Kids, don't do that. That's not good.
Never do that.
I'm not going to tell you what I did in college along those lines to get initiated into the fraternity that I never lived in. Lucky Rosario, because that's against the rules. You can't be telling people what you did.
Right.
All the hazy. It's against the rules. Lucky Rosario, we didn't do anything. It was wholesome. Niners would only lose if Jimmy was still the quarterback.
Yeah, that makes sense.
What's he doing these days? Josh Wyatt says, I'm tired of weapons system talk on Brock. People act like the 10,000 teams in history of the NFL never had system or weapons, 115 quarterback rating. Man, you sold.
Is it
it's
okay,
not just
Josh,
the weapons, it's the defense.
Is it okay? Defense. Is it okay to say they have good weapons, a good system, and a good quarterback? Is it okay to say all those things, or just it's all Brock Purdy?
I mean, the fact that he tanked when he lost 2 guys on offense kind of speaks to what we're talking about, right? Like, if he were just that good and the 115 quarterback rating spoke for itself, then he would have not lost to PJ Walker. He would have not lost by 14 to the Bengals, who then lost to the Texans. I don't know. I think it's fair to be a little skeptical and instead of being like Josh, who I love over here, and being like, boom, 115 rating in the story.
He could be.
What's his rating? He's losing.
Maybe they're all 3 good. Maybe they're all 3 good, Josh.
Scribe Mine says Brock was upgraded to a superstar badge in Madden, so he's a made man. Is that true? Debate is over. The real question is, what do we do with this old roster that won't fit Brock's championship window? Start to make it a little younger, yo. Like,
won't fit Brock's championship window, meaning they're going to get old before he's ready to win a championship.
They're just not going to. If Brock's the real deal, his championship window is just opening while some of these guys' championship window is closing. Trent Williams, George Kittle, maybe not George.
I mean, the thing is, look at like Patrick Mahomes, right? They had to pay him, and therefore they lost a lot of weapons, but then he won a Super Bowl, and because he's a great quarterback. So if Brock Purdy is that same type of great elite quarterback, then it's a non-issue.
All he needed was Jerick McKinnon. He's fine. He's good. Brother Bob, can we just rename Levi's to BP and put a statue up? I think it's time. We sign an vet safety. Will we sign JV still? Yeah, I hadn't heard. I guess that should happen. What, tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm excited about that. I hope.
Yeah,
I want to see Jason Verrett be the Super Bowl MVP. That a great story that would be.
That would be quite cool.